So now I want to be able to take this token once we log in and use it to access a protected route. So we need to create a piece of middleware to do that. So I'm going to just save this route here for now, and I'm going to create a new request, and this is going to be a GET request to API users / profile, and this is going to be a protected route. So this will, let's say, return logged in user. So we'll go ahead and save that, and this will be get to URL / API users profile. Now right now I'm going to get a not found because we haven't created that route. So I'm going to go into user controller, and let's create that. So I'm actually just going to copy this, and let's say get user profile. It's going to be users / profile, and it's going to be a GET request, and it's going to be private. So we'll call this get user profile. And let's see, as far as what we want to do here, we don't need any body data. What we are going to do is find the user. So we can use find by ID, and ultimately we're going to be able to use request.user to get user._ID to get the logged in user's ID. Now we haven't created the middleware yet, so this isn't going to give us anything. So I guess for now, let's just get rid of this and just say res.send, and I'm just going to say success. Now let's go to our, let's export this. So get user profile, and then in our user routes we're going to bring it in get user profile, and let's create a we're actually going to say router.route, because we will be making we'll be making a GET request and a put request to update the user profile and so on. So the route is /profile, and let's say for get we're going to call get user profile. Now if I, whoops, what's this? Router is, oh, should be route, not router. Okay, so let's go back to Postman, and if I hit this route, I get success, and I didn't send a token, and it doesn't matter because we can't protect routes yet because we didn't create that middleware. So that's what I want to do now, is create that. So in middleware, let's create a new file called auth middleware.js. And like I said, what this is going to do is validate the token. So we need to first import JWT from JSON Web Token. And let's also import, actually, yeah, let's import the user model. So /models/user-model.js, and I'm going to call this function protect. So let's say const protect equals async. Actually, no, we should be good. I don't think we need the express handler. So async, and then this is going to be this is a middleware function. So remember, request response next. So I'm going to initialize a variable here called token, and the way that this token is going to be sent, actually I'll go ahead and open up that login, and I'm going to take this token here, and the way it's going to be sent is through headers. So in headers, it's going to be sent as the authorization piece in the header. So I'll paste that token in. Now it's not going to be sent like this. It's going to be sent as a bearer token. So it'll be bearer, because we're bearing the token, and then space, and then the token. So it'll be sent like that. Now, to get this within our middleware, we can use request.headers.authorization. So I'm just going to go ahead and console log request.headers.authorization. And since this is middleware, we just need to call, we're going to call next here, and then let's export this. We have a lot more to do here, but I just want to show you how we can add this middleware to a specific route. So let's export, protect, and then let's go to our user routes and let's bring in protect from /middleware/auth middleware, and this route here is what I want to protect, this get request to /profile and this method that runs. So to implement middleware, we just put it as a first argument like this. So now that protect middleware, what's this? Oh, I forgot JS. So that protect middleware is going to run whenever we hit this route. So now if I go back to Postman and I go ahead and I send this, and we look down in the console, so I'm getting undefined. So I'm console logging, and that's because this needs to be headers, not header. So let's go back and keep in mind we're sending this authorization header. Let's send it and look down in the console, and you'll see bearer, space, and then the token. So what I want to do now is check for the token. So I'm going to make this a conditional and say if the request headers authorization, we also want to check to see if it starts with bearer, because it's going to be bearer space token. So to do that, I'll go ahead and say request.headers.authorization, and I'm going to use starts with and paste in or type in here bearer. So we want to make sure that it starts with bearer. That's just the convention. So if it does, then we want to move on. If there's no token, so I'm going to go after this if statement here. Actually, let's just console log. We'll say token found. It hasn't passed yet, but at least it's found. Down here, let's say if so actually, you know what we'll do is, no, let's say if no token, then I want to respond, so res.status, I want to respond with a status of 401 unauthorized, and I want to throw new error and say not authorized, no token. And let's see, yeah, let's do that. So if I were to send this now without the token, I'll uncheck this and send, and it's just going to hang here, so I'm going to cancel it. But down here, you know what, we actually want to add, so here we have an unhandled promise rejection warning, so it says not authorized, no token. So I think what I'm going to do is use the async express handler to handle any exceptions. So let's say import express async handler from express async handler, and let's just wrap this just like we did with the controller stuff. So express, or again, let's just call it async handler, it's shorter. And we want to wrap this entire thing like that. Alright, so that'll check to see if there's no token. I'm going to get rid of this next down here. And inside this if, let's put a try catch. And what we're going to try is to decode that token. So let's say const decoded and set that to jwt.verify. And this takes in the token, which I actually have to assign. So first of all, let's do that. So token is going to be request.headers.authorization, and I just want the token, I don't want the bearer, so I'm going to use split, and we're going to split by the space, meaning that it'll turn into an array where bearer is the 0 index and the token is the 1 index, so I want 1. So that'll get the token, and then here we're passing it in to verify. We also need to pass in our secret, which is in process.env.jwt_secret. All right, so let's go ahead and just do a console log of decoded, and then I'm going to call next. All right, so let's try this again. Just going to scroll down here. So I'm going to send, let's send without the token, and we get not authorized, no token as a response. If I check this and send with the correct token, I get success, and down here you'll see this is the decoded token, which includes the user's ID, also the issued at and the expiration if we want to use that for anything. So now we can get the user's ID now with decoded.id. So let's fetch the user. That's why I brought the model in, because we're going to set request.user now to await, take the user model and find by ID, and pass in the decoded.id as the user's ID. Now, the only thing I don't want to return here is the password, so I'm actually going to add on select. Oops. So select, and we can pass in here minus password. Even though we're not sending this back, there's no need to get the password here. So we're going to put all the rest of the user's data in this request.user, which now we'll have access to in all of our routes, all of our protected routes, I should say. So in the catch here, let's just, first of all, we'll just console error CLE. Okay, so that's not working. Console.error, and console log the error. And then I'm going to send a res.status of 401. And if this fails, it means that the token has failed. So let's throw new error and say not authorized, token failed. All right, so we'll save that, and that should do it. So if I go here and I'm sending the correct token right now, and we're getting success because we're able to hit that profile route. If I manipulate this token in any way, say I change this 8 to a 9, and I send, we get not authorized, token failed. So it's a bad token. So it has to be the exact token that we got when we authenticated. Now, as far as what we want this user's profile to return, let's go. We can close auth middleware up because that's all set. We can now just add protect wherever we want to protect a route. So back in the user controller here, let's say const user equals, and from the user model we're going to use find. Let's use find by ID. We need to add a wait here. So find by ID, and I'm going to pass in request.user._ID, which is going to be whatever the current logged in user is. So that will get the user, and then let's check for the user. So we'll say if user, else. If it's else, then let's res status. It's a 404. The user's not found. So we'll throw a new error and say user not found. And then if the user is found, let's return up here. Let's return the same stuff we did here, except we don't need the token. I just want to return this data. Whoops, we want to do res.json What is going on? And I want to return that for the logged in user. Okay, so let's go back to Postman. And keep in mind, I have the token that I got when I logged in with John Doe. So I'm going to send this now, and I get the information for John Doe. Now let's log in with a different user and get that token. So I'll change this to admin and send, and I'm going to get the token for the admin login that I just did, and I'm going to pass that in here. And I'll send that, and I get back my user data, the admin user. So you can see that whatever we pass in as the token, it has the user ID, and then we're getting that user ID and fetching that user in our middleware and assigning it to request.user. And then we can use request.user in any protected route that we want. Okay, and this one just happens to return the user's data. So I hope that makes sense. Now in the next video, I want to show you how we can actually save the token when we log in Postman, so we don't have to keep copying it and pasting it in the headers and so on.